Welcome to Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and a dash of hope collide nightly like a Trevor Story strikeout. We cover every loss, every meltdown, and yes, even the rare win, with brutally honest takes and zero front office fluff. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com or risk being left out in the cold like a home game in April. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. And folks, we interrupt your regularly scheduled maybe next year programming with breaking news. Alex Bregman has signed with the Chicago Cubs. Yes, Chicago, Wrigley, Ivy, Deep Dish Pizza, a franchise that decided, you know what? Let's actually try. Now, before we get into it, let me roast myself for just a quick moment, because once again, I stupidly thought maybe, just maybe, this was the offseason where the Boston Red Sox would do something aggressive. Silly me, that's on me. That's like expecting a salad at Yankee Stadium that doesn't come with a side of arrogance and entitlement. Speaking of which, the signing is going to send New York Yankee fans into a full-blown DEFCON 1 meltdown. They're already on Twitter explaining how Bregman is overrated, aging, and not a real third baseman anyway. Yeah, okay. You people defended Josh Donaldson like he was a war hero. But let's talk about what actually matters here. Alex Bregman signed somewhere else again. And no, Red Sox Twitter, this is not because he didn't fit the timeline or the years were too long or we have internal options. This is because ownership treats luxury tax like it's a restraining order. John Henry sees $200 million the way normal people see a rattlesnake in their kitchen. Here's the part that should make you furious. The Cubs didn't just sign Bregman because they're desperate. They signed him because they understand how baseball works in 2026. You build a roster and a farm system at the same time. You don't just pick one lane like it's a combo meal at Wendy's. Meanwhile, the Red Sox front office is still acting like it's 2014, sitting around saying, well, if everything breaks right. Yeah, if everything breaks right, I might wake up tomorrow with David Ortiz texting me good morning. This is the same organization that tells you to be patient while charging Fenway prices like they're rolling out the 27 Yankees every single night. The same organization that leaks interest every offseason like it's a substitute for actually signing a player. Interest is not a strategy. Interest is what you have when you're window shopping and broke. And let's be clear, this isn't about Alex Bregman specifically. It's about the pattern. Elite players move, contenders strike. And the Red Sox, they release a statement explaining why it was complicated. The Cubs saw a chance to get better and they took it. The Red Sox saw a chance to get better and asked if there was a coupon. So congratulations, Chicago. You got a real player, a real bat, a real message to your fan base that says, we're not screwing around. And Red Sox fans, buckle up, because tomorrow morning, you're going to be waking up with another article about how the front office is comfortable with where things stand. Yeah, comfortable, like a recliner in a burning house. And now it's time for Nick Face's word of the day.
Who's going to do it?
And now it's time for Nick Face's Word of the Day.
This word will not be a surprise to some of you. I'm going with a very simple word, and the word is expected. I said it from when the season ended. This is going to be like an Adrian Beltre story here, when Adrian Beltre was here for one season in 2010, and it was gone. The problem here is that Alex Bregman couldn't hold a candle to Adrian Beltre. I don't even know if Alex Bregman's going to be a Hall of Famer. That's the struggle here. The other problem that I have with this whole thing is that you pissed off your franchise player in Rafi Devers, and he is no longer here for one season. To hear the report come out that he's going with the Cubs, and for the money that it is, I'm not shocked with the 5 years, 175, That's exactly what I actually said that I would do if I were the Red Sox. We heard the rumblings. We heard the rumors. We heard the dollar figures. I was okay with it if they wanted to do it. Was Bregman one of my desired players I wanted back? Absolutely not. That is on record. Jim, you're also a part of that as well, too. What we saw was not enough. We saw why the Houston Astros gave up on Alex Bregman. We saw that. And they said, good riddance, goodbye, let it become another team's problem. Started out like a bang. First half, Bregman, great, until he got hurt. Right around that late June, and then it was a tailspin from that point. Could never get healthy, was never the same player that we saw. And I don't really think he's worth 5 years, 175, truthfully. I don't. That's just what the going rate is in baseball right now, but I just don't think he's worth that. Congrats to the Cubs. I think you're going to get a great leadership guy who's going to help that team. And now the Red Sox are another laughing stock of New England right now. Right on the cusp of our first legit playoff game going into for the Patriots. And we get this news right on the cusp of when the Fenway Fest also wraps up. Wouldn't this have been great if Fenway Fest was going on like the next day to see what would happen from this too? But
yeah, I said that in our situation room. That would have been beautiful.
Overall, I just think the whole thing here is the whole Rafi Devers drama and saga that transpired to this. This is what's not going to sit right with me, is that you gave up Rafi Devers for nothing for a season, maybe even you can even say a half a season of Alex Bregman. That's it.
4 months. Yep, 4 months. Well, Nick Face's word of the day is sponsored by Alex Bregman's suitcase. Preloaded with deep dish grease stains, a press conference script about tradition, and a hotel receipt that says temporary. Rolls smoothly into Wrigley, never fully unpacks, and always knows the fastest route back to free agency. Alex Bregman's suitcase, Chicago edition, here to lead until the opt-out. Now, it's time for the Martinello Minute.
And now, the part they don't want said out loud. No spreadsheets or corporate spin, just the truth. Raw and impatient. This is the Martinello Minute.
Well, Nick said it best. This is absolutely expected. Alex Bregman signs a massive 5-year contract, $175 million, no opt-outs, no trade clause to the Chicago Cubs, and he's choosing to play second base. You go 11 months back, you get all the news. Alex Bregman to the Red Sox, 3 years, $120 million. Alex Cora is saying he's a Gold Glove second baseman. Everybody's on cloud nine, and then the Rafael Devers reports start to fall out that he's not happy, and then everything starts to unravel after that. And now here we are, 11 months later, and I haven't looked at Twitter much. I saw the passing tweet, and since then, I've been texting Nick and Jim, and I can't wait once we get off this stream to see what everybody else's thoughts are, because I'm kind of the word's expected, but I'm also shocked. I cannot believe that, especially just hours after, as Jim would say at Fraud Fest, this is the news. This is the tweet that we're getting. And I mean, it's time to sack up, Mr. Breslow, because you have to get really aggressive really quickly on somebody to get this fan base to shut up.
He has no back left. Let's be real.
I said it on Twitter the other day. You can't spell Breslow without slow.
He was snipped back after the 2013 championship ride. Let's be real.
The Martinello Minute is brought to you by John Henry's Cigars, lit only after other teams spend real money. This is going to be pretty much an open forum, so however you guys want to do it. I don't have a complete operating procedure for tonight. So anybody's got any kind of stuff, we're also going to take some comments from Twitter and online, and we'll definitely get you going in here. Nick, go ahead.
How can fans realistically come out and say after Bregman goes to the Cubs, oh, now we have to turn our attention to Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette's our savior. Are you people serious? John Henry is not going to sign a long-term contract to anybody anymore. Wake up, fans. If you're a real fan like us, wake the F up. It is so ridiculous. He is not coming here. Would I want him here? Yes. I think all three of us are in the same camp.
Well, now we have no choice.
How can you sit here? How can you sit there and say, oh, well, Bregman's gone. Now we're going to shift our attention to Bo Bichette, rumored to now be about a $300 million contract. You people are absolutely out of control to even think that could be a possibility. I'd love it to happen, but it's not going to happen.
Look, if they're not willing to give Alex Bregman, who was here for one season, and supposedly, they were so happy with the fact that how he blended into this organization with the players. He was this coach, and, I kind of put some stuff on Twitter about how much are you really, paying for leadership. I want production on the field. And, everybody loves intangibles because it's the buzzword. All that being said, if the Cubs gave him 5 and 175, it would appear to me that the Red Sox were not close to an offer like that, because I think if all things were considered and it was the same offer, then he probably would be here. That's my guess. And if the Red Sox offered him an aggressive offer, like it was told to us earlier this week or the end of last week, for 160 or something, they obviously put their foot in the sand and said, we're not crossing this number. If they're not going to pay him, and again, I understand he's older, there's no way in Sam Kennedy, I should say, that they're going to give Bichette $300 million. It's not going to happen. The last $300 million contract they gave out was their first $300 million contract, and they couldn't wait to ship that guy off to San Francisco for a bucket of balls and a coupon at Wendy's. John?
Yeah, so I mean, the Red Sox, as of, I believe what I'm looking at right now was valuations from 2025. They're the third most valuable team in all of baseball at $4.8 billion. The ownership group, Fenway Sports Group, just got richer. They just sold the Penguins, so they're worth, I don't know how much they sold that franchise for, but whatever money got poured in from that deal, they're worth that number now. And for them to spew all the bullshit that they do day in and day out, all the false promises, from going all in, to saying that we need more power in the lineup, to saying that we're good on pitchers 3 through 10 in the depth chart, and saying we need another right-handed bat, to now losing out on the only guy that it looked like that they had any actual interest in, having an aggressive offer, competitive offer. Well, now that offer doesn't even matter. And I guess all I'm saying is that it just comes down to that it's an unserious franchise with an unserious ownership group and a GM or PBO or whatever his actual nameplate is that just doesn't do his job.
When you really sit back and think of this in a vacuum over the last season and a half, let's really include last offseason and this offseason. To Nick's point, Alex Bregman obviously got hurt. He was about 4 months of availability to us. And when you look at all the controversy that started from the minute that he was a potential possibility last offseason, will he play second? Will he play third? Will he be a DH? All these different things and intangibles were going through a lot of people's minds. And now this has all come to fruition that you wound up with 1 year of him for $20 million with $20 million deferred, and you lost your best generating power threat that you've had in the last in what, since basically Mookie Betts or Ortiz have been on this team on a regular basis. And you lost a guy that has 15 to 25 home run power on average, and a guy that you would be able to put batting second, third, something like that in your lineup. And it really annoys me because you look at what Fenway Fest was today, and you heard comments Alex Cora saying, the ball's in his court now. Well, that wasn't a very I don't know about you guys, but that wasn't a very reassuring comment. It was kind of one of those things. They already knew that, they already knew, Nick, that he wasn't coming back. And the other thing is that really grinded my gears was the fact that he had the audacity, Cora, to say that Wilson Contreras was going to be his number 4 hitter. And I put out a tweet. I says, who the F is batting second and third? Because you got to figure Roman Anthony might lead off. And what, you got any comments on that, Nick? I'll start with you.
My dog JJ is going to be going second. That's how it's going to be. I'm going to trade him to be Air Bud, and he'll generate all the fanfare and everything for the team. But in all fairness here, I think one of the best quotes of the day from Fenway Fest is when Alex Cora said these guys are a bunch of donkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Now let's analyze that. That.
So they're all a bunch of assholes. They're all a bunch of assholes, right?
Is he pissed right now because his boy Bregman's gone? Is that where that's coming from? I don't know if this was a going joke or this was some sort of a slight he was trying to go to ownership, because it's pretty clear Cora knew what was going on from today. It's pretty clear. So was that little jibe that he gave a direct message to ownership, you bunch of asses?
I mean, you could look at it that way. I mean, here's the thing, though. Once Alex Cora signed that extension to continue to be the manager of the Red Sox, a 3-year deal, whatever it was, I feel like
he's laughing to the bank.
Well, he lost all ability to bitch about the way that ownership and management is run, because if that's the case, then if you should have known that the writing was on the wall and whatever buttery things that they told you, Alex, you should have known that it was all false pretenses. John, what about you?
I don't think he really cares. He's just said, oh, look at this money. He's cashed in, Jim. Yeah. He's got a World Series championship. He's cool. He'll go back to Puerto Rico and be happy as a clam.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, going back to your tweet earlier today about the jackass comment, and then also the who's batting second and third. Nick said his dog. I said it's Wally and Yoshida. They don't have a second baseman. They don't have a third baseman. Those are 2 holes that needed to be addressed. And, like Marcelo Meyer, if he could play 140 games in a season, then I'm going to
chance of that happening.
You know what? Yeah, exactly. But, if that could happen, we're all dreamers here. Like, I'll be happy if we see that. And then second base is going to be Ceddanne Rafaela now. I don't know who else it's going to be.
That's why there was a comment today. There was a comment today that said, somebody asked Cora, and I think Breslow, I think they got the same question. And it was, is Rafaela going to be playing second base this year? And actually it was just Cora. And Cora said, well, I'm going to have to talk to Brez a little bit about that. I'm not just going to shoot it down right now.
Yeah,
God,
there you
is that
go.
Alarming, guys. Is that alarming?
Chris Cotillo did tweet out about a half hour ago, the Red Sox are said to have been willing to go 5 years for Bregman, but they were outbid by the Cubs at the 175 mark, which kind of goes in line with what I said earlier. I have a feeling they were probably at 5 years, 160. And, he got that offer for $15 million more. And here you go. That's what you're dealing with. There was a comment here too from Snarky Guy. He says the Sox won't pay much for anyone or give many years with the work stoppage on the horizon. I think he's 100% right. Expect Suarez or a trade for Arenado and cash. Nick, you brought this up before. He's going to call his good old boy Chaim Bloom.
They're already in bed together tonight.
And you know what? I guarantee. I would put money on the fact, John. What do you think about them working out a deal where we get what is it, Donnelly and Arenado? And that's what you're gonna have.
Donovan and Arenado. I yep. Mark my words. It's gonna be something of that package together.
It's that if Donovan and Arenado get packaged to the or any player from the Cardinals, if that's the response that the Red Sox make, the fan base again, as if they're not alive right now, like the fire's just going to keep on growing. You cannot go and call Heimblum tonight and
He's
formulate
already
another.
called.
He might be on the
He
phone with
already-
him right now.
I swear to
him and
God,
Sam
they're in
Kennedy
bed
are
right
asking
now.
ChatGPT their notes as to what to say tomorrow on the video call that they're going to do. I'm really at a loss of words right now, just with the comment of Heimblum.
They're enjoying each other's company right now. Trust me.
Yeah, and the Bears just came back and won, so Chicago's on cloud 9 right now. Congrats to them.
Wow, they did. Jesus.
Yep.
So a couple rumors that are going around just to kind of piece this in. Red Sox haven't still ruled out a late inning reliever. So there's that to consider. And let's see here. Multiple teams believe Boston is still looking to move their young pitching. Brian Bayo has been mentioned. And chatter about, let's see, they're still interested in a right-handed bat. The other option is going to be this Suarez. I mean, if they went out and they got Bichette and Suarez, I would be able to swallow a little bit easier. But I just don't think that any of that's going to happen. I don't know. I mean, I just don't even know where to go with this, because Alex Bregman was your poster child for 2 off seasons, and you let this go. And frankly, I'm surprised that after with that injury, he got that kind of money, which just goes to show you it doesn't matter in baseball anymore. And I had a big tweet that got a lot of chatter because I think it was yesterday, the Dodgers were shown to be the number one, have the best, the number one minor league system in all of baseball. And to what I said is that everybody, here in New England, all these nerds on Twitter are always saying, oh, you can't go and give away and gut your farm system, and you can't go and give all these contracts. And to what I say is, well, why are the Dodgers able to do that? How come every year they can spend $300 million plus on premium talent, and then they can go and they can bring up 1 or 2 minor leaguers that set the world on fire, and they can continue to have an elite minor league system? If they can do it, any team can do it, especially the Boston Red Sox. To John, your point, they're the 3rd or 4th richest team in baseball. I mean, the Rogers, which owns the Blue Jays, is valued at $19 billion. And I think when you consider the 4 corners and everything with Fenway Sports Group, the Red Sox are valued anywhere close to 10 billion, 9 billion, something like that. So there's absolutely no reason why this can't happen. And I just don't understand it.
Yeah. And one point I want to make right now, it says we have 582 people in here. To every single one of those people that were at Fenway Fest today, you spent more money to go to that event than the Red Sox have spent in free agency this year.
I love it. Oh, that's a tweet of the night. You just won the internet.
I love it. That was perfect.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's why John's with us. That's right. Yeah. That's why we chose John.
I don't know. At this point, what can they do? Nick, I'll start with you. What can they do to salvage the offseason? Because I don't want to hear people say, but we got Sonny Gray and he's like a number 2 because he figured it out. And we got Will,
and we got Will, clouds away. That's what they're singing right now.
Yeah, and even Lou Merlone, he was on Chris Cotillo's podcast yesterday with Sean McAdam, and I was shaking my head with that. I mean, he's all into Contreras. Look, the guy's okay if he was batting 7th or 8th in your lineup, but he is not. If you think he's David Ortiz, you're delusional. Nick, I'll start with you.
Some fans do think that. Some fans are thinking that. The major thing that I think that would be the best thing that they would ever do for the rest of this offseason is sell the team. I have to stress it, and I've said it multiple times. If we want change and we want this organization to stop looking like a joke that they are right now, John Henry needs to go. He needs to sell the team. New blood, new everything needs to come in, because it's been this way as you said earlier, Jim, since 2014, that's when we saw the Lesters going away. That's when you saw, obviously, Mookie was 2020, Xander leaving in 2022, Devers from last season. It's just been a difficult 10 years. Yes, we have 2018. Surprisingly, we have the 2018 championship. And I don't mean to come across of this as being a spoiled, rotten Red Sox fan. I'm not trying to come at that. What I'm trying to get us back in order of is how the 2004, the 2007, I'll even put the 2003 team into that conversation from stuff too. The prime heartbeat of the Red Sox was that time frame right there. When we saw it, we witnessed it, we loved it. Everything was just going great for Red Sox fans right there until we started to see Henry cut corners. The 2013 team probably should have never won a World Series championship because they went cheap that offseason. We got Shane Victorino types. We got Johnny Gomes types, Mike Carps. And we caught lightning in a bottle. We had the whole Boston bombing thing and everything, and everybody just rose up and Boston Strong became the thing. But outside of 2013 and 2018, it's been a very difficult past 10 plus seasons to be a Red Sox fan. But I don't think it's been any worse than 2020 to now. And don't come at me because, oh, well, we made the playoffs this season. Oh, we made it in 2021. Not good enough, folks. It's not good enough.
It's not good enough because there's nobody basically that's remaining from the 21 season. So there was no effort.
I thank John Henry. I thank him for our championships. Get lost. Get lost. It is the only way this team and this franchise is going to change because that cleans house of Kennedy, that cleans house of Breslow, fresh blood, new everything. That's what's needed if you want this Red Sox team to go back or to be a legitimate spender, an organization that's going to be in the playoffs consistently, that's going to put out great major league talent, that has a great farm, all that stuff. That's what's got to change.
John, people on Twitter argue with me that this team is improved over last season. Of course, that was before we knew what was going on with Alex Bregman. And a lot of people were probably just assuming he was coming back or the fact that they were improved even without him. I don't know what the logic was because so many of these fans are absolutely delusional. But try to write a path for me on, January 10th. And we're here at 11:44 p.m. How is this 2026 team better than the 89 win team that went to the playoffs last year? Because I don't see it.
I don't see it either. What logical case can you give me right now? People that are watching, throw it in the comments. If you genuinely think that this team's better than the team that we saw last year, explain it to me because I can't see it. Outside of if you want to make the excuse that team only didn't win that series against the Yankees because Roman Anthony was injured, that just doesn't cut it. There's nothing about this team that is better. The Red Sox somehow managed to lose 2 all-star third basemen in less than 8 months. Try to find me another franchise ever that's managed to pull something like that. There's this team, right? If I had to predict their record for the season right now, granted, there's still another month before spring trading starts, so something crazy could happen. But right now, they're right back to their 78 and 84, 81 and 81, missing the last 3 to 5 weeks of the season, being out of the playoff conversation. And it's just we thought for 1 year the culture was going to change, things were going to get back to how they were. And now we're back to square one of it's a bunch of young guys that have no leadership, that have no one to look up to, that have nothing, but they have no guys in the clubhouse that were there for anything. It's just a whole bunch of Yeah, it's a
That's
whole
what
bunch
they
of
got.
random faces.
And you have
that's it.
you have Duran that swears at fans.
Yeah.
But again, if you want to try to like break this down, and this is what I've tried to tell people on Twitter, the Sonny Gray move is a lateral move from Giolito. And if you want to tell me that he's a better pitcher than Giolito, I'll let you have part of that argument, but I can't give it to you 100% because part of my argument has been in tough markets, he has failed. And of course, I had people on Twitter come with me. That was like 10 years ago with the Yankees, and they tried to screw up his delivery. Well, you know what? That partly might be true. It's also the only time he's been involved in an area that was a meaningful sports town. I'm sorry, but when you're in Cincinnati, when you're in St. Louis, when you're with the Oakland freaking Sacramento A's, none of that matters because the teams don't matter, the players don't matter, the fans don't matter, nothing matters. And so I don't have a lot of faith that he's going to be a 15 win, ERA under 4 type of guy. And he's certainly not going to be number 2. And John, to your point, with them losing the playoffs last year, yeah, it wasn't because of Roman Anthony. It was because you didn't have a guy to pitch after Crochet. That's where you went wrong. You didn't have that guy. And here's the one thing about Giolito. He showed he could pitch in Boston. Now, whether it was a 2-year stupid deal because he got hurt and it was another one of those reclamation projects, the reality is he pitched fairly well in one season here, and he showed he could pitch here. I don't know if that's reproducible, but the other part of my 89 win argument, and I think you're right, I'm looking at 78 to 81 wins, and here's why. The Orioles got better. The Yankees didn't do much, but they're getting Cole back, we think. And it may not be in opening day, but
they just proved that they're better than you, that they were better than you already.
They were better than you already.
Aaron Judge. I mean, we can't hold a candle to any of our players that can line up to Aaron Judge level.
And Toronto got better than you. And don't just say Red Sox Twitter because, they're going to hate the contract on some of these guys. No, they were already better than you. And let me tell you, Savage is already better than Tolle and Early and anybody else that's coming up that you think is the next Wizard of Oz. Because let me tell you something about Tolle and Early. I do not believe they will be on this team on opening day. You have to remember that the only reason why either one of those guys had their contract purchased and came up to the major leagues was because of lack of depth and because of injury. Otherwise, if Criswell wasn't hurt,
never seen him.
If Fitz wasn't hurt, you would have never seen either one of those guys. That's the reality.
Cutter Crawford, any of those names,
yep.
You wouldn't have seen them.
Yeah.
That's the reality, and that's what Red Sox Twitter doesn't want to hear, but that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so.
And the scary part about that, guys, is that you have traded away a good amount of your pitching depth that you had. So going into this season, if you can't count on Cutter Crawford, if you can't count on some of these other guys that were down, you're going to be in a horrible position here. A horrible spot.
Yeah, because right now, as we talk right now, after hearing Ketel Marte is not going to be traded by the Arizona Diamondbacks, you are looking at a potential Romy Gonzalez at second, to Nick's point, and you're looking at Marcelo Mayer as your third baseman. And while I love the glove, and I will not say anything about the glove, I have absolutely no faith that Marcelo Mayer is going to remain healthy. Now, they just said he's up 10 pounds. Great. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that he's going to be more sustainable and less prone to injury. The guy has not finished a complete season in his major league career yet. And I'm talking the minors, his professional career. He has not finished one season without being injured. The injuries happen. Yeah, they do happen. To a guy like me, they happen. To someone who's 21 years old, they should not be happening like that at this rate.
This organization lacks the big D. No, I'm going to be clean, folks. I'm not going to be Bob Saget. Rest in peace. It's been 4 or 5 years. They lack durability. They don't have it. None of them. I could give you Crochet 100%. I'll give you that. But outside of that, I'll give you Duran. Duran's always kind of been there. It's just consistency issues that we get from that. But durability is the big thing. We saw a great bounce back from Trevor Story last season. I don't think coming into the season we ever thought that Trevor Story was going to do what he did this past 2025. He was one of the bright spots of the season. But can Romy Gonzalez translate to an everyday starter at second base? What's going to happen with the fairy princess, Tristan Casas? What's going to happen there? We're going to wave his wand and he's going to play first or DH or something? Ain't going to happen. Yoshida, what's going to happen with him?
Casas already said it was a black hole at first, right?
I know he did.
Okay, yeah. So he knows he stinks himself.
He does. He actually admitted it, which was stunning today.
So a couple comments. BH said, I don't know, it's Brian O'Halloran. I don't know. He said, if they fail with Bo, I'll be outraged. Well, get ready to be outraged. And he says, I'm fine with watching Bregman leave. Yeah, look, I'm not.
I think we all were kind of in the same boat too.
I'm not an I'm not an Alex Bregman enjoyer. He's okay. To me, he is a complimentary player when you have Ortiz and Martinez, or Ortiz and Manny on that team at the same time, or Xander and, Mookie Betts on that team at the same time.
Correa and Altuve.
Yeah, when you have him as a complimentary player,
absolutely.
Great. But if he was going to be your centerpiece again, like he was last year, you don't even have him now. Moving on to Jason, says Gray's good for about 8 wins at best. I think he's right. I don't really know. Maybe 9, maybe 10 is pushing it, but that's about all you're going to get. And I think you're going to have an ERA over 450. I do.
You need Sonny Gray to be Derek Lowe. That's what you need.
Yeah, and you know what? That's asking too much, I think, for this.
It is asking too much.
Because you know what? I mean, I love Crochet. Is he going to repeat? You talk about this 89 wins that I posed to John earlier. Also, too, Aroldis Chapman, is he going to be as elite as he was? I know he's a crazy guy in terms of his workouts, and he's in great shape. I give him all the credit in the world. But I mean, can you really expect him to repeat that year? Can Garrett Whitlock repeat his amazing 8th inning run? We don't have Justin Wilson. We do need a lefty in the bullpen. I mean, there's still a lot of question marks on this rotation and on this bullpen. So I don't know where we're getting more than 89 wins out of this team. Gibbous says, I will not attend or even watch one game this season. Fenway Sports Group needs to sell this team. Yeah, we're with you.
Good.
We're with you.
We actually have a fan that gets it. It's wonderful to see something like that.
Yeah. Yep. And I kind of want to run through this lineup right now of kind of what they're not the lineup, but the players that we have on the offensive side. We're, going over there back to the wins comment. Contreras, I don't have anything on him. I hope he plays great. Whatever. Casas, he's at rock bottom right now. He has to build his way back up into having respect out of 85% of this fan base. Rafaela, Romy Gonzalez, Nick Sogard. Rafaela has to prove it. This is his year to prove things, because as an offensive player, now that you lost out on the Bregman, his spot in the lineup just became a lot more important. Romy Gonzalez, it was 2025 a one-year wonder. Or are you just another guy that just, had a good season and then you're just a journeyman? Maybe you catch it again in a couple of years from now type of guy. Nick Sogard, what are you? Marcelo Meyer, can you stay healthy? Can you produce offensively? Trevor Story, can you do 2 healthy seasons in a row? Duran, you're okay. I don't have to. I don't hate Duran. Willie Abreu, can you hit left-handed pitching? Your spot in the lineup just got a lot more important. Roman Anthony.
Can you stay healthy too?
Roman Anthony, you have to be a bona fide star. You have to be in the MVP conversation at 21 years old. And then Yoshida, you're also at rock bottom. Granted, he was the only guy that produced for the Red Sox in 3 games in a wild card series, but he played 50 games last year? But so there's one guy in the entire lineup that who's 21 years old that I have faith in, and that's it.
Roman Anthony has to be vintage for this team to be a 90-win team, in my opinion. Roman Anthony has to come out and be vintage Mike Trout. And Wilyer Abreu has to be vintage, I don't know, maybe Mark Teixeira, something like that. I mean, you got to be looking at a batting average in the 280s, an OPS over 900, and 30 home runs out of him. And I don't think he's healthy enough to continue to do that.
Would you be happy if Wilyer Abreu is a complement of Trot Nixon?
I don't think yes, but I don't think it's enough for the 2026 team. Because
it's not. No, I'd be in the same predicament. If he ends up being something comparable to that sort of player, which I loved, dirt dog style.
I do too.
Gave his all.
If
it's
that's
not enough, though.
If that's his ceiling, that's fine for him. But unfortunately, it's not enough for the 2016 because you're almost comparing at that rate to the 04 team. And unfortunately, that 04 team had Johnny Damon, which, look, Durant is no Johnny Damon. They had Manny Ramirez. And of course, however you want to look at it.
Nothing. Not even 1 through 9. 1 through 9 from 2004, 7. There's nothing on this roster that's like any of them.
No, not the only one that could be is Roman Anthony. And there's a lot of ifs with him too, because we don't know what he's going to be. Is he going to be a 40 home run guy with a 275 batting average? Or is he going to be a 20 home run guy with a 331 batting average? I have absolutely no idea. None of us do.
I mean, I'll take either of those.
I would too, but again, it's still not enough. You need another guy on that team that's going to have an OPS of 850 or higher, that's going to be able to hit you 280, 290, another 25 home runs, maybe 100 RBIs or close to it. They don't have that guy. They don't have another Roman Anthony, and that's what they need. And unfortunately, I think we know what Abreu is. We know what Duran is, and he slipped a little bit in 25. We know what Rafaela is. We know what all these guys are. Unfortunately, we have question marks with Mayer. We don't know what's going to go on there. And we have question marks with Campbell. We have question marks with Casas. And just get ready for the spin, Red Sox Twitter, because that's what's going to happen. Nick pointed it out before. You're going to get Contreras, and that's all you're going to get. And you're going to have Gray, and this is your team for 2026. And if any of these guys are injured early, it's going to be a scramble.
But you know what? They added $40 million through trades this year, so you should go and buy those season tickets right now.
Yep. GBA says they went from having an amazing core of young players to having nothing. The Mookie trade will haunt them as much as the Babe trade did. Again, I've said this 1,000 times if I've said it once. Dave Dombrowski gets so much crap in this area in New England for being a guy that gutted farm systems. And I always explain to everybody, if that were true, which trade do you want back? Because there is not one that I would. All you wound up getting in the major leagues at any period of time was Michael Kopech, who was hurt for just about every season and is now a reliever. For the Dodgers? You had a little bit of Moncada, who was trying to make a comeback, and of course Manny Margot, who was in the majors for a while and petered out. Matthew Santos, guys, how long can we do this? Top 5 in revenue in baseball year after year. John Henry refuses to cross the CBD threshold, and you know what? Tickets and beers will still be overpriced. Absolutely, and that's what you're getting again. Yeah, that's what you need to do. That's what you need to do. You need to stop supporting the team financially, because that's what they want you to do. The Red Sox want you to spend money. They want you to spend your time and everything, and they're not rewarding you for that anymore.
Go to Fraud Fest. All you frauds that went to that today, how do you feel now after Bregman's gone? You feel good about yourself? You feel good that you went to support? Yep, you feel good about the parking fee, the ticket fee, the autograph, whatever you went and got. Yep. I'm not saying it wasn't a good event or anything or something. That I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you want change and you don't like the direction this team is heading, You just gave, for your price of admission, if you brought your whole family, say on average $200 they got per family for that. You just loaded up their wallet and they laughed all the way to the bank as they deposited all that money into whatever yacht fund that John Henry has. So congrats to you for continuing to feed this organization with buckets full of money for them to just sit back and do nothing.
Oh, and by the way, Nick,
I can't say it better enough than I just did.
no, and by
That's
the
the
way,
problem.
and by the way, if anybody's interested in any Alex Bregman jerseys, they are 90% off now at the Fenway Fraud Store. Just tell them that Nick sent you.
Yeah, I need a new rag. I need some new rags from my store, so maybe I'll just wipe them. I'll just do that.
Well, they are
Myers
really
should go and change his jersey number again. Go take 2 now.
Yeah, he could take 2 and leave 11 alone. Sam Kennedy feeding us mouth diarrhea today. You don't care about
the same old.
Yeah, it is. Sam Kennedy is the poster child for saying nothing, but his mouth keeps flapping. He constantly says everything that's right that fans want to hear, but does nothing about it. Jules not serious about winning. Look, they're not anymore. They're really not. And unless you get lightning in a bottle with the Boston Red Sox and you keep finding a bunch of Crochets and a bunch of Roman Anthonys, they are not going to sign any long-term deals for any serious money with anyone anymore. And unfortunately, those guys don't grow on trees, but that's what they'll do. If you get another Roman Anthony, they'll sign him for a 7-year deal. If you get another Crochet, they'll do the same, but it doesn't happen over and over and over again. That's the problem. Let's see here. Jules, I think also said I said this roster was set after the Wilson deal. It's absolutely the case. Get ready for Tristan Casas learning third. That's what I say. Jason says, God, as a longtime Sox fan, I always thought the low point in Sox front office history was the 2000 season. We got all the old ass Dante Bichette and Manny Alexander. This is worse.
I'll take the 2000 roster right now over this crew. I will.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't know, Jay, if you were around for earlier than that, but, I was around for the 80s and the 90s. And let me tell you, outside of 86 and 88, they didn't do jack squat. They really didn't. It wasn't until the Duke came in, and that's when he got in Manny, and then he got in Pedro, and that changed the dynamic. But look, a lot of that aura is gone. Maybe when we're dead and gone and this team doesn't win another World Series until, 21-18, then maybe they'll try hard again at that point. What the F, cheap ass owners, that's absolutely sure. Sam Kennedy is John Henry's little bitch. Yeah.
Donkey. If you didn't get the
Big
word
donkey.
of the day, donkey. They ride him around the office.
Jay, Sam Kennedy's like a robot lying to you. He certainly is. He is. If you look up corporate asshole in the dictionary, there's a picture of Sam Kennedy. BJ says they aren't signing Bo. They aren't signing anyone. They're not.
It's not happening.
We opened the show with this. I mean, if they're not going to give Alex Bregman 175 after he was here for a year, they're not going to give Bo Bichette 300. And that's what he's looking for.
You got your people on X, though. They're going, Gordo, sign Bregman, sign Bo Bichette or nothing. Boston strong. Bo Bichette, give him a blank contract. He's not coming here.
No.
Get over yourselves. It's not happening.
No, they're not signing anyone. I mean, John said it earlier today. With the lockout impending, there's nobody that's going to get a long-term deal. TD again. John Henry is more concerned to a year-long lockout than getting bleeping salary cap than a win. Yeah, of course. Gordo he also said, so the Red Sox ruined their relationship with and eventually traded their franchise superstar and long-tenured player in the name of playing Alex Bregman at third, only to then let Alex Bregman walk 7 months later. Now they're both gone. Make it make sense. Like John said, 2 all-star third basemen in under a year gone. It's so funny. Nick, it's so funny. Nick, I'll give you the floor on this question. It's so funny how all the people that wanted Devers out of here are all of a sudden going to start crying.
Oh, big time. The tears will flood the Charles River tonight. It will 100%. Yeah. The Charles River is going to be overflowing tomorrow morning. But the last thing I wanted to say off of that comment with the Bregman going with the Cubs, we need to make sure that it's emphasized. Alex Bregman is going to the Cubs to play second base. Oh, wow. Isn't that the position that Alex Bregman should have been playing last season? Mm-hmm. Oh, then you would have had Alex Bregman and Devers on the same field for 2026. Make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense, because it doesn't.
The other part of that, Nick, is if Bregman plays second, you shored up that spot defensively. You had Devers at third, but you made a longer lineup, and you didn't give $60 million to Christian Campbell. You didn't have Romy Gonzalez overplay, and he could have been, the utility guy that he needed to be. And maybe you don't go out and get, Nathaniel Lowe because you have Romy playing first a little bit more. I don't know. But again, this trickle-down effect with stupid Henry Nomics has really screwed this up. John, Bob Nightingale post, he says, the Red Sox will now turn their sights to Bo Bichette. What, like a deer in the headlights?
Interest kinks. Like that's been everyone's favorite word for 5-6 years now. It's interest kinks. Cool. They could be interested in Bo Bichette as much as they want. Like, they haven't proven a single thing besides a 1-year, $40 million contract that they could get any single player of significance in free agency. So until they get him or anybody else that's an all-star player, I do not care.
Bo Bichette will be going to the Philadelphia Phillies. Mark my words. Bo Bichette will be a Philadelphia Philly. He's going there because Don Mattingly was his great coach, mentor, everything that he meant to in Toronto. Don Mattingly just signed as the bench coach with the Philadelphia Phillies. When Dave Dombrowski has a rumor out there when a player is going to come to his team, he comes to his team. That's what's going on. And Kyle Tucker will go to the Blue Jays. You heard it here first. That's what's up. Bo Bichette, Phillies, Kyle Tucker, Blue Jays. Done.
And then
we can all cry some more because the Red Sox didn't do anything.
And I'm still not ruling out the fact that the Red Sox trade for Nolan Arenado for third base. I still feel that's going to happen. Well, look, I mean, he's a free agent in 2028, so he signed for 26 and 27 with the impending lockout. They're going to wind up getting Bloom to eat some of that money, and they're going to wind up having him for $10 million for the year or something like that. You watch, it's happening. It's going to happen. You can almost feel like it's going to happen.
We already knew. As soon as Bloom became the GM of the Cardinals, we all knew that the St. Louis Cardinals would become the St. Louis Red Sox. We all knew that was going to happen. So, hey, he's taking whatever piles of fun that Bloom inherited, and now they're coming to Boston. It's just, you can't make this up. And he won't make any other deals with any other team that isn't associated in some way as the Red Sox. That's how it's been. Pittsburgh Pirates, we had Oviedo. Guess who the GM is over there? Ben Sherrington. The rumors with Kentil Marte. Mike Hazen, he's your GM over there. There's Red Sox connections with the Dodgers. It's just how it is. Nationals. Who did we grab from the Nationals this offseason?
Wasn't it a pitcher?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a pitcher. Traded somebody. But again, same deal. They're all in association with each other. Bennett, thank you. That's what this has come to.
Yeah, we
Craig
traded.
Breslow is not qualified to be the GM and baseball ops guy for this team, so he can only make deals and communicate with the people that he has been associated with in his past. That's it.
Yeah, we traded a guy that throws 100 for a guy that's a soft throwing left-hander, I believe. But everybody loves him. Everybody loves him.
He's got good extension, Jim.
Yeah. He's got good extension. Yeah,
he's got good Christmas on the ball.
Good spin rate. That's what it's all about. Okay.
Do you remember that? Remember that line from John Farrell back in the day when he said one of the pitchers had good Christmas on the ball?
Yeah.
You can't make this up with this. It's been a really rough past 10 plus years for a lot of us. having to suffer
There's
through this.
Nick, there was a tweet from the Toad, says his team would like to congratulate the Chicago Cubs for signing what will end up being one of the worst contracts of all time. No, that's not the worst contract of all time. We know what that is. That is
that's when Fat Boy Slim had his belt explode up in the plate in Toronto, Pablo Sandoval.
Yeah, that's the worst. And you know what? Good for the Cubs. They want to win. Okay, just because these teams sign what retards think is a bad contract doesn't mean it's a bad contract. They want to win. They're trying to win. People can be like, look what the Mets did. They spent all that money and didn't do it. Look at the San Diego Padres. They're trying to win. Your effing team is sitting here and needs subsidies and coupons for Sonny fucking Gray. They need subsidies and coupons for Wilson Contreras. This is the Boston friggin' Red Sox, and they have to take teams on if they get $40 million in relief. What is this? I can't believe my eyes when I see people write shit like this.
Yeah, that comment from that other pod, that's ridiculous on what they have to say about the Bregman. It's not going to go down as one of the worst contracts. No way.
It's 5 years.
I'll tell you a really bad contract. Alex Bregman 1-year deal with the Red Sox. That was a bad contract.
Yeah.
It ended up turning out to be a bad contract. You're 100% right, John.
Yeah, because you lost a perennial 35 home run hitter because you either, treated him like
you pissed him off. You didn't talk to him. You didn't tell him what was going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And you wanted him to play first. He goes to San Francisco, plays first, and DHs. So if you just treated the guy. See, here's the thing about the Red Sox. They treat guys coming in better than they've treated their own players. And they've had a history of this since before you guys have even been, even as back as like Wade Boggs, Roger Clemens. It's happened back in the 80s. It happened in the 90s, the 2000s. Look at, Terry Francona. Look at Theo Epstein. Look at Johnny Damon. Look at every one of these guys that has left. They basically kick everybody that is on their team to the curb, and they welcome everybody else in with open arms. And you're seeing with Bregman. They wined and dined him last offseason. This offseason's like, nah, we're good at 160. That's it. And this is the problem. And it continues to be the problem with this organization. And then they wind up making them out to be fools. Look what they did to Francona, with the drugs and all this allegations and stuff with him on the way out. It's really sad the way that they treat their former employees.
Ever since
even their broadcasters.
And their broadcasters.
Thank you.
Don Orsillo. I love that man.
Every time I say something about, he always comments, he always likes, he misses it, and he should have been here. He should have been a lifer that was here. But the other thing I was going to say is as soon as they came to town back in late 2001 or was it the beginning of 2002?
2002.
Yeah.
2002. There's always been some sort of behind the scenes backdoor smear campaign for things that have happened. And I mean, you can even go as far as saying that one of the first things that transpired here was Nomar. I mean, I know Nomar turned down the 4-year, $60 million deal at one point that was going on there, but that turned ugly very quickly after the rumor came out that he was going to get dealt at the time to the White Sox. I think it was Maglio Ordonez, and was heading to the Rangers with Lester. I think that was it for Alex Rodriguez at some point. And obviously we all know the end story of that. He was gone at the deadline for 2004. But you can even look at when Pedro left, when Derek Lowe left, John Lester. I mean, there's a lot that this organization has dealt with. There's been good, obviously. But I have to say, I think there's more bad right now than good, even with the championships. It's really hard to say it. Schilling, thank you. Another one just commented. It hasn't gone well for how they manage their franchise.
Yeah. It's even Carabas wrote, he says, tell me you didn't love the contract or the defense at third, fine. But trading Rafael Devers in a salary dump just to accommodate a 1-year pillow contract for Alex Bregman before he signed elsewhere will go down as one of the biggest F-ups in professional sports history.
I agree with him. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's wild because now, again, you have Alex Bregman going to play second base for the Cubs. Second base, folks. The
Well, you
position
have
where
David-
he should have been.
Well, you have David Hamilton.
Good night, folks. Have a good one. I was going to get the bat and hit you both.
I swear to God.
Yeah, you could have had Alex Bregman as your second baseman, Rafi Devers as your third baseman, Trevor Story at short, and figure out whatever the F you wanted to do at first. If that was going to be Romy Gonzalez last season, fine, because now at least he was a serviceable player out there, career year. I know he overplayed himself. I would have been perfectly fine with that. Would you guys have been?
I wonder what Anthony Rendon's doing right now.
It's on a golf
if we
course.
dare God. Oh, man.
No.
Hey, this
I'm
is
not
the Red
sleeping tonight.
This is the Red Sox, and this is Chaim Bloom 2.0. So I put nothing.
I need some drugs in me.
I gotta be honest with you. Nothing surprises me anymore with this team. It really doesn't. It doesn't surprise me. I could see them
take my Tums.
I could see them going with Mayer. I could see them doing a deal for Arenado. I can see them doing Suarez. I can see them doing nothing. I can see them. I don't know. It's just so underwhelming and so predictable at all the same time. You have to admit, like, who really is surprised that Bregman's not here? Who really, honestly, is saying to themselves, holy crap, I really can't believe it. I really thought he was going to stay here.
Probably Carabas and Steve Peralt.
Yeah, well, I know Coley Mick said something about, getting Bichette, but again.
Yeah, I think he wanted Bichette.
The only way that happens is another pillow contract, because that's all it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I don't think with Dombrowski and the Phillies lingering in the shadows, I don't think that that's going to happen, because that's a perfect Dombrowski move.
Yeah, if Bichette does happen, it's going to be within the next 48 hours. And if this goes on, what's today? Friday, or what is today?
Saturday.
I'm razzled right now. Saturday. If Bo Bichette's not on the Red Sox,
good morning, everybody.
Monday at noon.
It's Sunday morning now.
Sunday morning now.
If he's not on the Sox by Monday afternoon, that ship sailed, in my opinion.
Jason
how
says,
much of a savage move, though, would it be for Dombrowski in the next 24, 48 hours to legitimately sign Bo Bichette?
That'll probably happen by 1 p.m. tomorrow.
And then give the finger to the Red Sox. That would be great.
Sox brass have zero soft skills with players. It's absolutely true, like we were talking earlier. Question I have is whether fans will wake up and boycott that little box called Fenway. They're not, TD, and here's the reason why. Fenway Park is a tourist attraction, and they don't care. John Henry and ownership do not care whether it's you in those seats or it's a Toronto Blue Jays fan or a St. Louis Cardinals fan or a Mets fan or someone that watches 3 ball games every season and is just there for the cheer of it all. They will sell seats and they don't care. There was a statistic that came out in the middle of 2025 that said that the Red Sox payroll was down 35%, but attendance was down 9%. And, it doesn't take a business scholar to realize that if I can save 35% and only lose 9%, I'll do that all day long, and I may even push it even further than that. Gibbons says Ralphie was a salary dump, had nothing to do with Bregman. They wanted to get out from under that money. That was a length. I don't know if that's 100%. I really don't, because if Bregman was not on the radar, would Rafi still be here?
He would have played third base for 150 games last year.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, two things can be true to a degree at once, as far as that comment goes, in my opinion.
Yep. WL says anything but a splash could happen. It's not going to be a splash. It's going to be a waiting in a tub. That's what it's
The
going to
only
be.
splash you're going to see is me doing a cannonball in a pool someday soon.
They had to sign both Alonso and Bregman, and they ended up with the finger. That's the problem. I think going into the offseason, everybody said that would Alex Bregman opt out? That was question number one. Would Trevor Story opt out? And they needed to get at least one more impact bat plus those guys. Now you're down to the impact bat you didn't get plus Bregman, because I'm sorry, Wilson Contreras is not an impact bat. Yeah, but he's good. Yeah, he's okay. He's good as a complimentary player, but not as a middle of the order threat.
I have an interesting take.
Go ahead.
I think Trevor Story is a fool for opting into his contract.
He is a fool, but here's the thing. Was he going to get 3 years and $55 million on the open market?
Look what Bregman just got.
Well, I mean, it's possible, I don't know. He might be
I have a funny feeling the Red Sox organization is pissed he opted in.
Oh, I'm sure.
I have a funny feeling, guys. I'm telling you,
roster flexibility.
Because this screams something that is out of the norm currently, what we're seeing with Henry and ownership and what they're doing, to have a 30-plus-year-old player opting into a longer-term extension of a deal. We don't see that very often. So Story held all the cards on this, and he elected to opt in. Little shocking, because I'm sure they wanted him to walk.
And the Red Sox have a $5 million buyout on the third year that's remaining. So that they're going to elect for that over a $30 million opt-in for, the following season. I think it's 2028. So, because Story probably looks at it from the standpoint of saying, if there's an opt-out and I'm on the market this year, and again, obviously you can look at the Pete Alonso and, the Bregman deal now and say, I guess it didn't friggin' matter. But I bet you if he knew that those two guys were going to get 5-year deals, Nicky probably would have opted out, because he probably would have said, lockout or no lockout, I'll get my 5 years, because that seems to be what did Schwarber go 5 years? Everybody seems to be 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
That when the Sox are out of it and the deadline, they'll trade him and get from under that. I'm not sure who he was referring to, but
I'd assume Story.
Yeah, it could be. And also, too, if they're out of it again this July, say toodles to Aroldis Chapman, too.
Yep. Yeah, I think we have a couple spam bots that are on our YouTube page. We may need to go into settings and
we do
send them off to the Quality Leering Center in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Watch, they'll go and trade for Arenado from the Worcester Cardinals. Watch your Bresbot say this is the guy we wanted. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. Oh my goodness. So where do we go from here? Fire Breslow, I'm reading on Twitter here. The re-litigation of all things Rafael Devers should be at the top of the mind discussion tomorrow from Chris Cotillo. I said it about 20 minutes ago. You watch. Everybody's going to be saying now, oh, what did we do to Devers? It shouldn't have never happened.
I just am curious why fans instantly want to go to Breslow and I'm not a Breslow guy.
The scapegoat.
But I want to know why fans are instantly going for fire Breslow after this news comes out.
Yeah.
I'm really curious on that, because this doesn't just stem from Breslow, folks. This stems from ownership. If you want the truth, it comes from the top. It comes from Henry. Henry is the one that okays these deals and okays what's going on. And then that transpires down to Sam Kennedy, his number 2 pretty much in command. Then that goes down to Breslow. I left Tom Werner out because Tom Werner is more Liverpool, Nesson, that's more his forte.
And full throttle.
Am I happy with Tom Werner? No, I don't like Tom Werner. I think he's a sleazy salesman. But I think you fans need to really pinpoint your blame here and make sure that you're not just singling out one person. This is an entire organization's fault.
It is.
Call it as we see.
It is. You're right, because look, this isn't Breslow's money. It's as if
Breslow's a little puppet. He's Snuffleupagus from Sesame Street to these guys. That's it.
You know, if John Henry says, I'll go as high as 160 and that's it, what is he going to do? There's nothing they can do. They got to wait it out and see if he's got a better offer, or they'll take theirs. You know, it's like saying the defense rests in the courtroom. They have no other leverage. They don't. You know, Alex Bregman had them by the balls, and he knew that as soon as Devers was traded. That's the reality. It's as clear as that. He had them by the balls for whatever he wanted. And whether or not Boris went back to them and said, we got an offer for 175, what can you do? Can you match it? Can you beat it? And Breslow's going to say, no, my owner won't go higher than that. So, what do you expect? I mean, we destroyed Chaim Bloom too. And I know he made some bonehead moves, but, you know, a lot of times people look at the Japanese market or the Korean market thinking that they can get, you know, $1.50 on the dollar with some of these players. It obviously didn't work out with Yoshida, but they're like, you know, I can spend 90 million on him or 150 on whatever at the time. And, you know, it's the way they go. You know, I don't know what to say. I mean, if Theo was in charge again, would it be the same thing, or would it be old time like it used to be?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. If Dave Dombrowski was still here.
I really think this stems from relationships and communication with the rest of the baseball organizations. And I think the biggest struggle here on the whole making deals and talking and figuring things out stems from inexperience, led from a general manager of Craig Breslow, who was like the 10th choice to sit in this seat after Chaim Bloom was fired. Nobody wanted this job. No. Nobody wanted it because of how John Henry handled the whole Dave Dombrowski thing. One of the more respected baseball executives in all of the league. Who would want that job? Chaim Bloom became that guy, and then Chaim Bloom's gone, and then you put Breslow there. Yeah. If they go and fire Breslow, nobody's going to want that job. It's going to have to turn to somebody internally like an Alex Cora. That's the only way that's going to help. Go ahead.
And to that point specifically, like that's where I think where Breslow's biggest problem is that he's on, like, at the end of the day, I really think that like he has that job security. Nobody is going to be taking that job. There's nobody that is going to want that job if he gets fired. So am I crazy to say that he has I don't want to say the leash, but he should have the ability to, when John Henry says, I do not want to pay this amount of money, to tell him to shut up, and that, like, to say something or stand for himself in some way, shape, or form. That, because I think at the end of the day, Breslow is genuine and like he wants a club that's going to win. He was a player here. He won a World Series here. I know that at the bottom of his heart somewhere he has the drive to win a World Series, but he has to just grow the pair of balls to just tell John Henry that this is something the Red Sox need, whether he likes it or not. Because Dombrowski did it. There's some way, shape, or form that it's possible, and he has to show it.
Breslow's one of those, he'll zip it and he'll just do whatever is said. And I don't think there's any gumption to him to say, John, this is my job, butt out. Something like that. He's a puppet. He's a puppet master.
It's unfortunate too. And, you know, if you look at the trades that they've made, you know, over the last couple seasons, obviously it took blue chip prospects to get Crochet, but a lot of these moves they've been kind of like just you find you find something at the Goodwill, and then you have them for a year, and then you trade two of those Goodwill products for a couple Kmart products. That's all you're doing. You're just kind of rearranging the deck chairs. You're not doing anything striking, and fans think that, oh, we fleeced this organization for this one, and we fleeced this organization for that one. Alex Verdugo and Richard Fitz and Tyler, what's his name? And it's just a bunch of nonsense back and forth, and they're really not doing much. And it's not going to change. Next off season, you'll see the same thing. You'll have some middling prospect or somebody that's been up and down. Look at Dobbins. I mean, it's kind of like just a middling guy that you moved because you don't want to give up anything good, but you don't have anything better, and you got to go with what you have a surplus of. And he's got a surplus of what I think are a bunch of number 5 guys, and everybody wants pitching. Every team wants pitching. So it's not just so easy to move a Duran or move an Abreu or any of these offensive guys, because teams, especially that are getting rid of pitching, typically want pitching back for the most part. And that's what you're seeing. So,
well, Breslow already said today at Fenway Fraud that he's not trading any of the outfielders. Did you hear that? Because I heard that. Yeah. He said he's not trading his outfielders.
Mm-hmm. No, which leads you to believe that they want to keep the same setup, and they're going to rotate.
Overvalued.
They're going to either rotate Rafael at second, put Duran in center, and then Roman Anthony play left, or it'll be a day where, maybe Yoshita's going to have a phantom injury, and they're going to put Anthony as DH. Something like that's going to happen. And I think they realized, Nick, too, that they were not going to sign a premium free agent, and as a result of that, they could not afford to trade anyone off their major league roster for fear of lack of offense.
I think you'll see a platoon of some sorts with Abreu still too, because I'm sorry, Abreu cannot hit left-handed pitching, and neither can Duran. So that's a big problem that I don't think we talk about that enough, that we have starters that are in positions that can't do the job fully. So you have to platoon, and that's where your Nate Eaton's going to be in the fold. Rafaela's going to be moving around the diamond. You got Marcelo Meyer. Can he hit left-handed? All these questions that are still ongoing right now with the current assembled crew that this 2026 roster is going to be is a problem, folks. It's a problem. You can't sit here right now and say this is acceptable. This is okay. I've never seen in my lifetime, I guess maybe when I was 2, 3, 4, back that era when the Red Sox were, I've never seen in my lifetime this many question marks heading into a season of trying to figure out the roster of how my team is going to look. That is so horribly bad.
And this is on a year where you just were in the playoffs the following October, and you're supposed to be in a window of contention like 2017, 2016, right on the cusp of 2018 and 2003, those years of contention. And you sit here today on, now we're January 11th, and you sit here today and you have no third baseman, no second baseman. You don't know who's playing in the outfield and where. It's amazing that they can be in this position and yet try to convince, the lemmings of Boston Red Sox Twitter and fandom that they are still this contending team, because I don't think they are. And I think they're a fourth place
bunch of donkeys.
I think they're a fourth place team right now. I think Toronto's going to win that division again. I think the Yankees will qualify for the wild card. I think the Orioles and you will be battling for fourth place and third place, and I think ultimately the Orioles will finish third. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Tampa will finish last. And, and I only say that because they traded a guy like Shane Boz, and I don't know how McClanahan's going to be coming back from, his injury and so forth. So, that's
They
probably
very well could be a last place team too. I'm not going to go out and say they're a last place team.
I'm not counting that out. I'm not counting that out one bit.
I think
it has the potential.
The time being, I think right now we're battling with the Rays for last instead of the Orioles for third or fourth.
Yeah.
And I'm getting really sick of these whole things from each season we go into it with saying, oh, we hope this player is going to be good. We think, we are questioning whether this, we don't know this. I don't know how many more times you can do it.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating because you finally had that year where it looks like things are, like you finally had that year where things start to look good, and just immediately, and granted, like all three of us were all on the Bichette, or are still, I guess we're still on the Bichette train, but getting outbid by so many teams on so many players, so many years in a row. It's the same thing over and over and over, and we're just at the point now where, and it's happened before. We're just fed up, and there's just nothing that the Red Sox can do outside of signing Bichette in the next 24 hours that's gonna make anybody in this fan base shut up.
I love how you're saying that with such a straight face.
The other thing here too, and getting back to Bregman, and then we're going to start wrapping it up. I hate opt-out contracts. I think something should be done in Major League Baseball, and I've talked about this before. You guys have agreed that there should, number one, be some sort of cap in the calendar for free agency. And it's funny because that was discussed today at Fraud Fest, and both Alex Cora and Breslow and Kennedy said that they were for it. And even though Breslow said he was for it, he also said, but he also likes the additional time to go ahead and try to fill out his roster. Now, I had said to you, gentlemen, and I've said to Red Sox Twitter, make it the top 50 free agents as determined by Major League Baseball. Whatever those top 50 are, they need to be signed by, I don't know, call it New Year's Eve, whatever it may be. And then you could fill out your roster with all the shit kickers that you want afterwards. But the opt-outs are what killed you here, because you, as the Boston Red Sox, signed Bregman for a 3-year commitment and $121 million last offseason, and it's meaningless. It means nothing. Don't even sign for 3 years because it's a bunch of bullshit. And these opt-out contracts do not help the team. They only help the player. And if you want to think that, well, the Red Sox are out from that contract now, well, that's not the way that it's looked at from a business standpoint when you're making that contract, because now you're assuming that that player is going to be with you for 3 years, and you're going to make all these other arrangements accordingly. And who knows? Had the Red Sox only signed Bregman for 1 year, would things have been different with Rafael Devers, knowing that Bregman was on a 1-year deal and it may not be back? And you saw JD Martinez have opt-outs. You saw Trevor Story have opt-outs. I think the opt-outs are bullshit, and I think if you're going to make a commitment to a player and a player's going to make a commitment to the team, it needs to be a full contract, whatever that is. If it's a 2-year deal, a 4-year deal, a 6-year deal, whatever, enough with these opt-outs. I think it's bullshit.
What about deferred money?
So I'm not a fan of deferred
BS too.
I think it's BS too, because what that does is it gives a team with pretty much unlimited funds to continue to browbeat any other team. It's just,
and that's what's happening right now.
And that's what the Dodgers did. And that's what a lot of other teams are going to start doing a lot more of, because they're going to have the financial flexibility anyway. And it's a way for them to buck the system and find a loophole to be able to stay under whatever luxury tax they want to be. Now, will that affect the Dodgers in 10 years from now? I don't know. Look, today's money is not what tomorrow's money is going to be.
Right.
So even though the Dodgers are paying Shohei Ohtani $700 million over the course of 20 years or 10 years or whatever that contract was, that $700 million today will be like $500 million in the middle of that contract, or $400 million, just because of the way inflation and everything else goes. And that's how the world spins. So, you should be attached whatever you're spending towards that luxury tax during that year based on the actual value of the contract over the course of the years that player is playing, no matter how you did it. So if you sign Shohei Ohtani for $700 million for 10 years, that's a $70 million hit on your luxury tax for those 10 seasons, regardless of how you're paying him and for how long you're paying him.
Yeah. And with the deferred money, you can't get players to accept deferred money contracts if you don't have players that they want to play with. So, whether you like it or not, that's just not even an option for the Red Sox at this point in time. So,
no,
it's going to be pillow contracts.
You mean we don't have any players on our team that people want to play with? Holy crap. That's groundbreaking.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to call it for tonight. Any last minute comments, Nick, John, before we wrap up?
I got nothing.
Get ready for Marcelo Meyer at third, Story at short, Rafaela at second with Romy Gonzalez there a little bit as well.
And David Hamilton from the left side.
Can't forget about him.
Get ready for Wilson Contreras. Again, we have to see how many games he's going to play at first base. Will it be first base DH? Will he catch at times? I don't know. They might not do it. We'll see. Get ready for your four or five different rotating outfielders. There's your team.
And your lineup will be Jarren Duran leading off. Marcelo Mayer batting
the first pitch of the season. First pitches of the season.
Marcelo Mayer will bat second. Romy Gonzalez will bat third, and Wilson Contreras will bat fourth. Navarez will bat fifth, and Abreu sixth, and around we go. So it's going to be.
Where would you bat Roman Anthony again?
Now he could lead off. Actually, that's probably really what it's going to wind up being. So probably Anthony leading off, Mayer second, Romy third. I don't know. It's Duran.
Where do you throw Duran?
Yeah, I got to put Duran later in there. It is a mess because they're going to
and now the lineup's all lefty heavy again.
Exactly.
Everybody's starting to comment here again about the lineup from stuff too. It is a giant cluster F on what this team is right now.
Yeah.
I really want to know what their plan has been for the past 3 years.
You can't sit here and say consistently, "Oh, well, Jarren Duran's your leadoff guy." Duran can't hit left-handed pitching.
Well, the other part of it is with them actually putting Roman Anthony leadoff. Aren't the Red Sox telling you that they've lost faith in Duran leading off?
Exactly.
That ship already sailed. That was August. He lost that job, and he's not getting that. Well, now he might get that job back because you might need Roman Anthony to hit third for you.
You may need that. So what do you do now?
You need Roman Anthony to hit in every spot.
So Duran leads off, Mayer's second, Anthony third, Contreras fourth.
I'd probably say Story second, just because Cora likes to do the left, right.
You want to do it that way?
Yeah. Then you probably Contreras fourth, fifth is probably Abreu, sixth is whoever. Then Rafaela hits ninth.
Peanut vendor.
So your Duran,
Waterboy's going to hit 7.
Your Duran and Anthony, so 2 lefties back to back, and that's leading off, right?
Probably throw Story too,
or Story second.
Yeah.
So Duran, Story, Anthony, Contreras. Then you'll go Abreu 5.
Yep.
6 is what?
Probably Narvaez.
Narvaez 6.
7 is
Romy.
Romy, Meyer, and Rafaela.
Yeah.
It's not good enough.
Rafaela's my 9 guy.
Yeah.
I think that's almost a lock. Him or Mayer, I think, is almost a lock to bat last, and then I don't know.
You got to have Marcelo Meyer has got to be better than a 7, 8, 9 hitter. Oh, if he's not, what a bust that's going to be, guys.
Of course, in that lineup that we just said, you have just off the cuff, you had Anthony in that lineup, you had Duran, Rafaela, and you had Abreu. So someone's DHing in that scenario, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, we're leaving
Probably
out
Duran.
Yoshida, Casas, Sogard, all those bench guys that are going to be in the mix too. Scream 79 wins.
Get ready for it. Pitchers and catchers in 4 weeks. That'll do it for tonight's show, guys. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Nick and John for being on and everybody else who contributed on our comments. It was really good having everybody on. And we'll see you on our next show when there's something breaking. Hopefully it will be something of value because right now it's as bum can get. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you soon.